Good morning slash now afternoon here on the East Coast to everybody. I hope that you guys are having a great Sunday so far. I am here. We're going to be doing some more Bible study today. I hope that you're excited. Last week, on Thursday, we finished up Genesis and we had Abby here with us. Abby Blue Eyes was here and we had a fantastic time. Let me see, where are we? Oh, this one right here. But we're here again. We're going to be starting Exodus today, so it's going to be quite interesting to say the least. We're going to be talking about the plagues today and just kind of seeing what has happened since they've been, since Joseph dies and all of that. So it's going to be a good time. I do have some insights. I did some Bible study this week preparing for this lesson of my own, just because I felt like there was like deeper meaning there. And sure enough, there was. So we'll talk about the plagues and how they kind of connect to like the Egyptian gods. So if you guys didn't know that, that's going to be fun to get into. But without further ado, we got to pay some bills. So I'm going to thank our sponsors, or at least a few of our sponsors. We'll get to some more later on in the show. But we'll get to our first two sponsors. The first one being Loaded Gun, because for some people this may be very early and you still are very coffee deprived. So if that is you, make sure to stock up on some Loaded Gun coffee. This episode is fueled by Loaded Gun Coffee, veteran-owned, small batch roasted, and bold enough to actually taste as strong as it smells. They're all about quality over gimmicks, and every bag is roasted to order, so it's fresh when it hits your doorstep. You can grab your favorite roast at loadedguncoffee.com and use code JackieEspada for 10% off your order. Support small business, drink bold, and start your day the clean way with Loaded Gun Coffee. Thank you, Loaded Gun. We love ourselves some Loaded Gun coffee, and especially when we need a little pep in our step to start the day. So thank you to Loaded Gun. And then our next sponsor is In His Word. So we want to, of course, as we get into His Word, we want to also not only practice what we preach, but also show it off to the world. So that is what In His Word's mission is. And let's see what they have to say. I'm so excited to tell you about In His Word, a woman-owned, family-run Christian brand from the Pacific Northwest. 3 sisters and their mom started this business out of their kitchen, creating faith-based apparel and home goods designed to keep us rooted in God's Word. Every design is prayed over, crafted by hand, and made with the mission of helping you carry Scripture into your everyday life. Whether it's a bold reminder or something more subtle that keeps your heart steady, you can shop their collection at inhisword.us and use my code JackieEspada for $10 off orders over $70. That's inhisword.us. Faith you can wear and carry wherever you go. Thank you, In His Word. I have yet to wash those sweatshirts and t-shirt, so I'll do that this week so that you guys can see what that looks like again. But Cam was actually, I think he was wearing his In His Word hat last night on his show and has been for the past few shows I think that he's been on. So make sure to check them out. And yeah, we're going to get right into it. If you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up. Share this out with a friend so that people know that we're having Bible study here on a Sunday morning. So make sure to spread the word. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be digging into Exodus today. And excuse me, I wanted to go ahead and read at the beginning of my Bible, there is like a little bit of like a timeline breakdown. And so this is the way my Bible looks. It's nice. So I'm the Lord your God. It has like a timeline breakdown. It also has a little background information and kind of the message and the purpose of this book. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of read that just so that, to prepare you guys for what we're going to be reading in Exodus. So this is what this says. It says, on the timeline, along with the other 4 books of the Pentateuch, Exodus has been long considered the work of Moses. Moses would have written Exodus at any time during or could have written Exodus at any time during a 40-year span after the Israelites finished constructing and dedicating the tabernacle at Mount Sinai, 1445 BC, and before his death in the land of Moab around 1406 BC. The events in Exodus pick up where Genesis ends with the death of Joseph around 1805 BC and conclude with the building of the tabernacle in 1445 BC. So that is just some background information on the where Exodus lies in the timeline. So background information, it says our first hint about the book of Exodus comes from its title, derived from the Greek word meaning departure. True to its name, Exodus is centered on the departure of God's people from Egypt, where they were held as slaves to Pharaoh. The date of the Exodus itself is disputed, but biblical evidence favors 1446 BC. 1 Kings 6:1 tells us the Exodus occurred 480 years before Solomon's fourth year as king, which was likely 966 BC. In Judges 11:26, Jephthah said Israel had been living in regions of Palestine for 300 years. Jephthah lived around 1100 BC, which dates the beginning or the end of the journey around 1400 BC. So that's again some more background information just for you guys that are a little, like that context. And then the message and the purpose of the book of Exodus shows God at work for the people of Israel so that he might dwell among them. And that's Exodus 29:46. God rescued the Israelites in order to make himself known, not only by the exercise of his power, but also through an ongoing covenant relationship based on his patience, grace, and forgiveness. The record of what the Lord did for the Israelites provided grounds for them to recognize him as their God who deserved their complete loyalty and obedience and made clear to them their identity as God's people. So this is really it's interesting because we'll see the Israelites kind of go through a time where they don't feel like, super they're kind of fighting with God. They're like, "Why do you keep doing this to us?" Like, I understand like you gave us like it was the thing after thing they gave us for the all of the different plagues and they were never affected, which was great. But then, they're pushed out of the well, Pharaoh, we'll see. He'll push them out and be like, "Okay, get out of here. I don't want you guys here anymore." And then, it's just like thing after thing that they encounter in the wilderness for them to just be like, "Okay, God, enough." And God's like, "No, I'm not finished yet. You guys, this is just the beginning." So it is going to be a really good book. I have loved digging in it so far and hope that you guys enjoy reading it with me. Um for those that have never joined us before, if this is your first time joining us, hello and welcome. So glad that you're here. I usually read from my She Reads Truth Bible, which is a Christian Standard Bible. It's one of the easier translations that I've come to kind of see and read. So this is the one that I'm going to be reading from today. We You guys can follow along if you guys like to have the book in front of you. That's why I let you guys know what version I'm reading from. But you can always just listen. That's always allowed to. And for those that do like to listen, if you would like to, I mean, I have Rumble going, I have X going, and I have YouTube going. After I am done with the show, what I have been doing is I have been uploading them to Spotify and also to Apple Podcasts. So now my Bible studies are out on the internet in multiple ways for people who are trying to read and follow along. And what I'll do is I will find those links for people, like the Apple Podcasts link and the Spotify link, which I should have right here. Here it is. So this is the Bible study one. Let me share this link. Throw that in the chat so that you guys can have the link for that. Happened. Anyways, I'll do it later. It's being ridiculous, but it is on Apple. See, it's promise it's there. Oh, cat wants it. Very windy and cold out there, so she's not very happy. But it's okay. She's gonna stay inside now. But yes, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. I have the videos on Spotify, so those are there for people who would like to watch and listen and want to share it with other people as well. All right, let's get into it. Exodus 1. This is titled Israel oppressed in Egypt. So these are the names of the sons of Israel who came to Egypt with Jacob. Each came with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. The total number of Jacob's descendants were 70. Joseph was already in Egypt. And that right there, it tells you there's 70 people in the family. God's promise is working. He promised them that they would be fruitful, they would multiply, and that they would go out there and make many nations. He's already making do on that. Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation eventually died, but the Israelites were fruitful, increased rapidly, multiplied, and became extremely numerous, so that the land was filled with them. A new king who did not look about Joseph came to power in Egypt. He did not know about Joseph, yes, came to power in Egypt. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and powerful than we are. Come, let's deal shrewdly with them. Otherwise, they will multiply further, and when war breaks out, they will join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country." So the Egyptians assigned taskmakers over the Israelites to oppress them with forced labor. They built Pithom and Ramesses as supply cities for Pharaoh. But the more they oppressed them, the more they multiplied and spread, so that the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. They worked the Israelites ruthlessly and made their lives bitter with difficult labor in brick and mortar and all kinds of field work. They ruthlessly imposed all this work on them. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, the first whose name was Shiphrah, and the second whose name was Puah, "When you help the Hebrew women give birth, observe them as they deliver. If the child is feared if the child is a son, kill him. But if it's a daughter, she may live." The midwives, however, feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt had told them. They let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, "Why have you done this and let the boys live?" The midwives said to Pharaoh, "The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife can get to them." Anything, the fact that they were able to just they feared God more than they feared Pharaoh, and decided that the life that they saw come into this world was more than enough to save. That is a beautiful thing. It's basically, the fear of God over the fear of power, and I think it's a beautiful thing, like I said. So God was good to the midwives, and people multiplied and became very numerous. Since the midwives feared God, he gave them families. So again, oppression, and this is where the oppression goes public. Pharaoh then commands all his people, "You must throw every son born to the Hebrews into the Nile, but let every daughter live." That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy that he just is like, "No, throw them in the river." Huh? Like how heartless are you that you're just like, "Yeah, just throw them back in the river." And it's funny that they say that, to throw them back in the river, because as I was doing research on the different gods of Egypt, that the like little g gods, that God, big G God, he was trying to basically counter with all of the different plagues. They're like, the story of like their creation that they believed in Egypt is that everything comes from like the sand and like the mud and the water from the Nile River. So it makes sense that they would be like, toss them back in the river, because that's where they came from, kind of thing. You just came in here. Okay. Boss. Okay. She'll be back in like 5 minutes. One big gust of wind. She'll be back. But yeah, that right there just kind of sets the tone of what's happening. Obviously, firstborn sons are not being allowed to live, and Pharaoh is proving himself already to be not the most fun guy. Just Coke in the chat said, "Hi, I just taught a lesson on Shifra and Pua last week." Interesting. Well, yeah, let us know if you have any insights on that, because I didn't dig deeper into Shifra and Pua just because um I didn't have time. So yeah. The Matrix going on in the back, Black Cat Crossing. Yeah. Yeah, she's a good one though. We love her. We love having her around. She keeps us honest. All right. We are on chapter 2 now in or not Genesis, Exodus. We're in Exodus now, guys. So Moses' birth and adoption. Now a man from the family of Levi married a Levite woman. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with asphalt and pitch. She placed the child in it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. Then his sister stood at a distance in order to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe at the Nile while her servant girls walked along the river bank. She saw the basket among the reeds, sent her slave girl, took it, opened it, saw it, the child, and there he was, a little boy, crying. She felt sorry for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew boys." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Should I go and call a Hebrew woman who is nursing to nurse the boy for you?" "Go," Pharaoh's daughter told her. So the girl went and called the boy's mother. Coincidence? I think not. The Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take the child and nurse him for me, and I will pay your wages." So the woman took the boy and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses because she said, "I drew him out of the water." So that right there is just like, God's irony is undefeated that yes, he took Moses away from his mom, but when the it almost feels like it's a blessing because now she gets to still be with her son and get paid to do it. So it's just funny how God works sometimes when you're just like, "Really, God? Like this is what you have for me? This is what you're asking of me?" And if you're obedient, he will absolutely bless you. So, sometimes it takes a little bit of a sacrifice for you to actually get a blessing. And I know that I'm one of those people that can attest to that. And this whole I will honestly say that 2025 was the year of blessing for me. And I'm believing that 2026 is going to be double that, if not running over 10 times over. I know that God is in this and I know that he's doing what he needs to do in my life, and I am trusting and believing that he's going to continue to open the doors that I need to walk through. So, thank you guys for being here and supporting what we're doing here, because this is all because of him. So let's continue. Moses in Midian. This is chapter 2, verse 11. If you're just joining us, we're in Exodus. So years later, after Moses had grown up, he went out to his own people and observed their forced labor. He saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, one of his people. Looking all around and seeing no one, he struck the Egyptian dead and hid him in the sand. The next day, he went out and saw 2 Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you attacking your neighbor?" "Who made you commander and judge over us?" the man replied. "Are you planning to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" People know. When Joseph, or when, who made you commander? Yes, okay. So then Moses became afraid and thought, "What I did is certainly known." When Pharaoh heard about this, he tried to kill Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian and sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the trough to water their father's flock. Then some shepherds arrived and drove them away, but Moses came to their rescue and watered their flock. When they returned to their father Reuel, he asked, "Why have you come back so quickly today?" They asked, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "So where is he?" he asked his daughters. "Why, then, did you leave the man behind? Invite him to eat dinner." Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. She gave birth to a son, whom he named Gershon, or Gershon. Not really sure. But yes, but this one, it's in my Bible, it has a footnote for that, and it says in Hebrew the name Gershon sounds like the phrase a stranger there, because Moses was a stranger in Midian. So that's kind of where we're going there. So she gave birth to a son, to which he named Gershon, for he said, I have been a resident alien in a foreign land. After a long time, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned because of their difficult labor. They cried out, and their cry for help because of the difficult labor ascended to God. God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God saw the Israelites, and God knew. So this right here is an important sentence in two sentences. So God heard. So that means that the prayer reached him. Then God remembered. That means covenant is going to activate. That means he's getting ready to actually, do what he said that he was going to do. And then God saw, which means that he acknowledges their suffering, he sees that they're going through it, and then God knew. That's when he gets personally involved. That's when he goes in and he actually does the thing. So that, and of course, like the Bible, we talked about this on Thursday because we were going through some really overtly sexual things on Thursday, at the end of Genesis. Um, but a lot of the times in the Bible, when it says you came to know somebody, when God does it, it means, that he's doing the thing. A lot of the times when it says like so and so knew came to know so and it's like a man and a woman kind of thing, it oftentimes means sex. So yeah, the Bible is very House of Dragons esque. So we'll get to more of that. But Genesis was one of those books where we were like, oh, oh. So it happened a lot. But Jess Koch said, our group has been studying women of the Bible. It is amazing how huge and impactful some of their faithful actions were, but how little we know of them and how little they were mentioned in the Bible. That's amazing. That actually sounds like a really fun study. I know that Cam's mom has been doing, I think they were doing the gospels last I heard, but they did do women of the Bible, but I don't think they did women in the Bible as deeply as you guys are going. I think they just did like surface level people. So they did like Mary Magdalene and Ruth and just surface level people that we know of. You guys are really going in and talking about like the nitty gritty. That's cool. That's really cool. All right. We are on Exodus chapter 3, and this is Moses and the burning bush. So, meanwhile, Moses was shepherding the flock of his father in law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire within a bush. As Moses looked, he saw that the bush was on fire, but was not consumed. So Moses thought, I must go over and look at this remarkable sight. Why isn't the bush burning up? When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, he answered. And again, that's super important because we've talked about this before, is the fact that he calls him by name. There is no second guessing who he is talking to because he is calling you out by name. And we've talked about this in The Chosen too, where, in the good book sessions, which shameless plug tonight at 7 o'clock, Bay Theater Day Benign going live for episode 8 of season 2 of The Chosen. So come hang out with us. But we talk about it in The Chosen too, where Jesus calls people specifically by name. He did it with Mary, and then he also even in Genesis. In Genesis, we talk about the names of changing from Abram to Abraham and from Jacob to Israel. It's important. Names are important. They don't just mean just nothing. And so the fact that people nowadays are kind of spitting in the face and the image of God by trying to change their not only their gender but also changing their names because they don't agree with that. I think it's blasphemy, in my opinion. It is absolutely just a spit in the face to God, and that just it doesn't sit well with me. I could just be the only one, and that's okay, but that's how I feel. Drink to that. And today's drink of choice is is a nuri milkshake. It's a protein shake. I haven't had breakfast today, so this is what we're having. So, here we go. Do not come close, he said. So this is God again. He's talking to Moses through the burning bush. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he continued, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. And that kind of reminds me of Eden, in the Garden of Eden too, where they felt like they needed to cover themselves because they were shameful in God's image according to themselves. But yeah, then the Lord said, I have observed the misery of my people in Egypt and have heard them crying out because of their oppressors. I know, there's that word again, about their sufferings, and I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and to bring them from that land to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the territory of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. So because the Israelites cry for help, has come to me. Yeah, I understand now. Okay, so because the Israelites, like their cry for help has come to me, and I have also seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. Therefore I go. Therefore go. I am sending you to Pharaoh so that you may lead your people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses asked God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the Israelites out of Egypt? He answered, I will certainly be with you, and this will be the sign to you that I am the one who sent you. When you bring the people out of Egypt, you will all worship at this mountain. Then Moses asked God, if I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say this to the Israelites. The Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is how I am to be remembered in every generation. That's such a strong statement, and it's so powerful because God just is. He is almighty, he is all powerful. He is who he says he is, and that should be enough because he is more than enough. That's crazy to think about. But that's just and it's not only crazy to think about, but it's so also super humbling because we serve and worship the most high God, the one that is constantly present and is always there to bring us out of the trouble whenever we need him. And he will do it for every single one of his children, and we are all of his children, and I think it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, that the powerful statement right there. Go and assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me and said, I have paid close attention to you and to what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised you that I will bring you up from the misery of Egypt to the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. They will listen to what you say. Then you, along with the elders of Israel, must go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now please let us go on a 3-day trip into the wilderness so that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. However, I know that the king of Egypt will not allow you to go, even under the force from a strong hand. But when I stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my miracles that I will perform in it, after that he will let you go. And I will give these people such favor with the Egyptians that when you go, you will not go empty-handed. Each woman will ask her neighbor and all women and any woman staying in her house for silver and gold jewelry and clothing, and you will put them on your sons and daughters, so you will plunder the Egyptians. So that right there is God is laying out the plan. This is the map. This is the roadmap that you guys are going to follow. Right? He is saying that I'm going to take you out of this oppression. I see what you guys have gone through. I know what's going on. I'm going to take you out. But we can't just wake them all up at once. This is the first, in my opinion, this feels like the first Q mission. Look, this is the decode. I'm laying out the plan for you. You just trust the plan. Trust the plan, and I will make sure that you guys don't leave empty-handed and with generational wealth. This is something that you can pass down to your kids, kind of thing. That this is a powerful thing. But we also have to remember that God already knows that he is the one who is in control of the situation, and he's going to be the one that's going to harden Pharaoh's heart multiple times, time after time. When we think that he is just about to say yes and he's going to let them go, God's going to be like, no, he's not ready yet, not ready to go yet. But this is not only a strengthening tool for Moses and his faith and the faith of the Israelites, but it's also going to be like a presentation for those of the Egyptians as well, because we'll see later on, once they finally are able to go, that the Egyptians are finally like come waking up to the fact that the gods that they serve are nothing in comparison to the Most High God, the only God. So there's that. All right, let's continue because we've got some plagues to get to. Chapter 4 is where we are at now, and thank you guys all for being here. Hello to you. If you have not hit that thumbs up yet, make sure to do that if you guys don't mind. We are having a good time. I've thoroughly been enjoying this, and for those, I'm using this as a bookmark. We talked about this. This is in his word. This is a note that they sent me in the mail, but I'm using it as a bookmark and like a tool for me to follow along. So nice in his word. Make sure to use my code Jackie Espada for $10 off orders of $70 or more. Okay, chapter 4, miraculous signs for Moses. Moses answered, what if they won't believe me and will not obey me, but say the Lord did not appear to you? The Lord asked him, what is this in your hand? A staff, he replied. Throw it on the ground, he said. So Moses threw it on the ground. It became a snake, and he ran from it. The Lord told Moses, stretch out your hand and grab it by the tail. He stretched out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand. This will take place, he continues, so that they will believe that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you. In addition, the Lord said to him, put your hand inside your cloak. So he put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out, his hand was diseased. So leprosy is what we're thinking. And it resembled snow. Put your hand back inside your cloak, he said. So he put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, he had again become it had again become like the rest of his skin. If they will not believe you and will not respond to the evidence of the first sign, they may believe the evidence of the second sign. And if they don't believe even these two signs or listen to what you say, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the Nile will become blood on the ground. I wrote a little note in my thing that said weird. Just throwing water on the ground and it becoming like blood. Yeah, Rocky Top, that's interesting. A serpent, just like in the garden. That's the first sign, is the serpent. So we'll see more signs for sure. Right. But Moses replied to the Lord, please, Lord, I have never been eloquent either, in the past or recently, or since you have been speaking to your servant, because my mouth and my tongue are sluggish. So again, God already factored this in. And the Lord said to him, "Who placed a mouth on humans? Who makes a person mute or deaf, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak, and I will teach you what to say." Moses said, "Please, Lord, send someone else." Delayed obedience, Moses. We did you not learn anything from Genesis? Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "Isn't Aaron your Levite, your brother? I know that he can speak well, and also he is on his way now to meet you. He will rejoice when he sees you. You will speak with him and tell him what to say. I will help both of you and both help you and him to speak, and will teach you both what to do. He will speak to the people for you. He will serve as a mouth for you, and you will serve as God to him. And take his staff in your hand that you will perform the signs with." So that the delayed response, God's like, "I understand, I get it, but we will keep I will allow this thing to happen. I already factored this in. I knew you were going to say this, but I will still be obedient to you." So Moses' return to Egypt. Then Moses went back to his father-in-law Jethro and said to him, "Please let me return to my relatives in Egypt and see if they are still living." Jethro said to Moses, "Go in peace." Now in Midian, the Lord told Moses, "Return to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead." So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took God's staff in his hand. So right there, mission activated. It's go time. Let's go back to the land of your people. Let's get this show on the road. The Lord instructed Moses, "When you go back to Egypt, make sure you do before Pharaoh all the wonders that I have put within your power. But I will harden his heart so that he won't let the people go. And you will say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord says: Israel is my firstborn son. I told you, let my son go so that he may worship me, but you refused to let him go. Look, I am about to kill your firstborn son.'" So that right there is already setting them up for one of the plagues. And this is the plague that finally activates in Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. Interesting how that is like the first thing. And I didn't pick up on that the first time that I read through this. So on the trip at an overnight campsite, it happened that the Lord confronted him and intended to put him to death. So Zipporah took a flint, cut off her son's foreskin, threw it at Moses' feet, and said, "You are a bridegroom of blood to me." So he let him alone. So that time she said, "You are a bride." I can't speak today. "You are a bridegroom of blood," referring to the circumcision. And this right here is an obedience check. The Lord said in Genesis that after, you have a son and 7 days you're able to be with the baby and be around the baby and all of that. But on the 8th day, you need to circumcise him. That is what I'm asking for. And it appears that Moses did not do that. So the Lord was coming to Moses and being like, tapping on his shoulder and being like, "You didn't do the thing. Why haven't you done the thing yet?" And now they're actually going in, and he's going to he was coming for the obedience check. And Zipporah was like, "Come on, dude. You need to stay alive. You can't do this." And she was the one that ultimately saved Moses's behind, which happens a lot of the times with men and women, husband and wife at least. So, yeah. Okay, let's keep on going. I hope that you guys are enjoying this. I know that I am. So we're on chapter 4, verse 27. This is the reunion of Moses and Aaron. Now the Lord had said to Aaron, "Go and meet Moses in the wilderness." So he went and met him at the mountain of God and kissed him. Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say and about all the signs he had commanded him to do. Then Moses and Aaron went and assembled all the elders of the Israelites. Aaron repeated everything the Lord had said to Moses and performed the signs before the people. The people believed, and when they heard that the Lord had paid attention to them and that he had seen their misery, they knelt low and worshipped. So immediate obedience. They know who their master and creator is. They are going to go ahead and start worshiping him. And that's what exactly what he's asking for. He is asking for your immediate obedience. He's asking for worship. That's it. Now we're on chapter 5. Chapter 5. So Moses confronts Pharaoh. And of course, if at any time you guys have any insights or, input or anything like that, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I've stopped after every chapter just to make sure that you guys are all right. But this is a Bible study for you guys too. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to throw them in the chat. I may not know all the answers, but our friends here in the chat may know the answer, or we can look it up together. So that's the beauty of this Bible study. It is really open. You guys are able to just ask questions or put your insights in the chat, and sometimes we pick up on things together that we don't normally pick up on. So I hope that this is all for you guys. Chapter 5. Moses confronts Pharaoh. Later, Moses and Aaron went in and said to Pharaoh, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so that they may hold a festival for me in the wilderness." But Pharaoh responded, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him by letting Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and besides, I will not let Israel go." They answered, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Please let us go on a 3-day trip into the wilderness so that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God, or else he may strike us with plague or sword." The king of Egypt said to them, "Moses and Aaron, why are you causing the people to neglect their work? Get to your labor." Pharaoh also said, "Look, the people of the land are so numerous, and you would stop them from their labor." That is sounding very, very deep statey, very globalism-y. Like, just shut up and go back to your work kind of thing. Don't like it. All right. Further oppression of Israel. Chapter 5, verse 6. The day Pharaoh commanded the overseers of the people as well as their foremen, "Don't continue to supply the people with straw for making bricks, as before. They must go and gather straw for themselves, but require the same quota of bricks from them as they were making before. Do not reduce it, for they are slackers. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Impose heavier work on the men, then they will they will be occupied with it and not pay attention to deceptive words." So that's really unfortunate. That is retaliation to the max. Retaliation. So the overseers and foremen of the people went out and said to them, "This is what Pharaoh says. I am not giving you straw. Go get your straw yourselves, wherever you can find it. But there will be no reduction at all in your workload." So the people scattered throughout the land of Egypt to gather the stubble for straw. The overseers insisted, "Finish your assigned work each day just as you did when straw was provided." Then the Israelite foremen, whom Pharaoh's slave drivers had set over the people, were beaten and asked, "Why haven't you finished making your prescribed number of bricks yesterday or today, as you did before?" This is terrible. So the Israelite foreman went in and cried for help to Pharaoh. "Why are you treating your servants this way? No straw has been given to your servants, yet they say to us, 'Make bricks.' Look, your servants are being beaten, but it is your own people who are at fault." But he said, "You are slackers. Slackers, that is why you are saying, 'Let us sacrifice to the Lord.' Now get to work. No straw will be given to you, but you must produce the same quantity of bricks." That right there is just flat out just blaming Moses for the whole thing. Blaming Moses because Moses was being faithful to what the Lord asked him to do. And Pharaoh's like, "Nope, doesn't fit in with my plans. I don't believe that, God. I'm good. You guys have to finish working, though." The Israelite foremen saw that they were in trouble when they were told, "You cannot reduce your daily quota of bricks." When they left Pharaoh, they confronted Moses and Aaron, who stood waiting to meet them. May the Lord take note of you and judge, they said to them, because you have made us reek to Pharaoh and his officials, putting a sword in their hand to kill us. So Moses went back to the Lord and asked, Lord, why have you caused trouble for this people? And why did you ever send me? Ever since I went into Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has caused trouble for this people, and you haven't rescued your people at all. This is honest frustration. This right here, I understand where Moses is coming from. He's like, "Look, God, like you asked me to do the thing. I was not expecting this, and now these people are suffering because of what you said. You told me to do. Why did you do this?" So that honestly that ends chapter 5, but I'm going to read into chapter 6 just like the first sentence because it finishes up that little segment. So, but the Lord replied to Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh because of strong hand he will let them go. And because of a strong hand he will drive them from this land." So that right there is God being like, "I understand your frustration. I do. Just hear me out." Because of this is basically going to come back and haunt him in the end. He is going to be his own demise, and he will get what is coming from him. But you got to trust me. You got to trust me. Trust the plan, and we will absolutely get you to where you need to go. So I hope that you guys are ready for it. This is where things get a little dicey. This is where we start seeing the plagues and things start heating up for sure. But this is our halfway point, and I wanted to go ahead and thank our last sponsor, um, or at least one of our last sponsors. We still have one more, so um, pause real quick. I'm gonna take I realized last time on Thursday that I was talking a lot, and like after I was done, my voice was like completely shot, and so I need to fuel up and make sure that my throat is nice and lubricated. So I'm going to take a quick break for an ad so that I can lube up. So thanks, and also if you guys don't mind, if you guys showed up and got in here a little late, make sure to hit that thumbs up. This week's episode is also brought to you by Tamarac Garden, one of my absolute favorite small herbal remedy shops. They handcraft teas, tinctures, salves, and skincare from wild harvested herbs and weeds in the Pacific Northwest. The stuff God literally grows under our feet. Every product is non-toxic, family safe, and made with real edible ingredients that support your body inside and out. Visit tamaracgarden.com and use the code JackieEspada to get $10 off your order. Because nature already gave us everything we need to heal, and Tamarac Garden just bottles it beautifully. Oh yeah. Thank you, Tamarac. Tamarac's actually one of my favorite. They're honestly my favorite products. I actually just placed an order at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So 12 hours ago. I placed an order. I got some of their new tinctures. I got Peace and Calm, Bubble Gut, and Reflux Rescue. That's for Cam. So we'll keep you guys updated on those. I've been using Peace and Calm since before Christmas, and it's something I have to take daily. I it really is just that is the one thing that it helps me get through the day. It makes me feel much more calm. And I feel like myself. I don't feel so high strung or just nervous or anxious or anything like that whenever I'm taking Peace and Calm. And for anybody who just has those just natural just anxious feelings, Peace and Calm is the one thing that's going to knock those out. And it's a natural all organic supplement that Michelle makes by hand, and I fully support anybody taking that. So not medical advice or anything like that, but you can absolutely get your Tamarac Garden and just use my code JackieSpotted to get $10 off orders over $50. And if you spend anything over $75, you get free shipping. So you can automatically save like $20 just by spending like $75. It's a win-win in my book. But let's continue on. Let's continue this train. We are going to go on to chapter 6. We already started chapter 6 a little bit, but we are going to actually get into God's actual promises of freedom. now. So, chapter 6, verse 2 starts with, Then God spoke to Moses, telling him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty, but I was not known to them by my name, the Lord. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land they lived in as aliens. Furthermore, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians are forcing to work as slaves, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, tell the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from the forced labor of the Egyptians and rescue you from slavery to them. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and great acts of judgment. I will take you as my people, and I will be your God. I will know that I am you will know that I am the Lord, your God, who brought you out from the forced labor of the Egyptians. I will bring you to the land that I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you as possession. I am the Lord. Moses told this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their breaking spirit and hard labor. And that right there is a promise stack. It's just promise on top of promise on top of promise, just, compounding and being like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for you. And I wrote this down because I was like, this is some deep stuff here. This chapter 6. It's Genesis. This is Exodus. Here we go. So the promise stack says repeats the covenant promise using strong language. So I will bring you out. I will take you as my people. I will free you. I will redeem you. So those are hard words that are just like, those are full on promises that you really cannot deny. Like that is God being like, okay, guys, this is what I'm going to do for you. Let's please just do this. But of course, the Israelites are broken. They're so broken from all of the labor, and they're like, sorry, God, we want to believe you, we want to believe you, Moses, but it's hard for us to believe you. And I know that we've all kind of been through something like that where we're going through a really, really hard season, or going through some stuff, and God is really being like, look, I'm going to deliver you from this. I promise you that I'm going to do this. Just believe me when I tell you. It's going to take some time, but I'm going to make it happen for you. And of course, we've been stuck in the trenches for so long. We're like, God, please, like, I don't believe you. And when we finally get through it, when that Red Sea finally parts, and you see that ending come, and you walk through it, and you're like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe it. Like that's God. That's 100% God each and every time, who shows up and is like, see, I told you so. Like I told you I was going to promise. I promised you. You have to believe. So this is I'm this is great stuff to be able to dig in, and especially at the beginning of the year. This doesn't feel like the beginning of the year for a lot of people, because this is not the beginning of a season. Um, this is like the middle of a season, and it doesn't feel right. But just know that God is this is a season that God is going to bring us through. It may be cold outside. It may feel like 19 degrees. At least that's where we are. And it didn't snow, so it was all for nothing, and I'm pissed about it. Um, but he will absolutely bring you through. You just got to believe him. And if he says that he will do it, just know that it's already done. So, yeah. And Eleanor actually said in the chat, she said, I commissioned Artsy Joan to paint the parting of the Red Sea. Yes, I remember seeing it, that she posted it, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Artsy Joan, actually, she's painted you can't really see it now, but the painting of Shuri for us. She painted Ash's new lily pad painting, but she also painted the old one too, I think. So she's really talented. She's usually in our chats. But fantastic woman, and I was supposed to look up to see if she is here in the chat. Let me know if she has a website. I was supposed to look that up, and I didn't. So, yeah. Chapter 6, verse 10. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, Go and tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go from his land. So, same assignment. But Moses said in the Lord's presence, if the Israelites will not listen to me, then how will Pharaoh listen to me, since I am such a poor speaker? Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron and gave them commands concerning both the Israelite and Pharaoh king of Egypt to bring the Israelites out of the land of Egypt. So, same assignment. God says, Moses, go to Pharaoh, go talk to him. And Moses is like, but I don't speak well. I can't do it. I'm scared. Nobody's gonna listen to me. I'm not pretty enough. I can't do this, God. Same resistance. But God's like, no, wait, you guys can do this. And the reason why you can do this is because look at your lineage. This is where you guys are coming from. You guys are absolutely qualified to do this. And of course, this is where we get into the genealogy of Moses and Aaron. So this is just bear with me as we get through these names. This is going to be quite a mission. And I hope that you guys are ready for it. Let me lube up again. All right. Here we go. Genealogy of Moses and Aaron. These are the heads of their fathers' families, the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, Hanok and Palu, Hezron and Carmi. These are the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These are the clans of Simeon. These are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their family records. Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon, Libni, and Shimei, Shimei, by their clans. The sons of Kohath, Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The sons of Merari, Malhi, and Mushi. These are the clans of the Levites according to their family records. Amram married his father's sister Jochebed, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Izhar, Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. The sons of Uziel, Mishael, Elsphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elsheba, daughter of Aminadab and sister of Nashon. She bore him Nadab and that's the name. She bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah, Asir, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These are the clans of the Korahites. Aaron's sons, Eleazar married one of the daughters of Putiel, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the Levite families by their clans. It was this Aaron and Moses whom the Lord told, bring the Israelites out of the land of Egypt according to their military divisions. Moses and Aaron were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, in order to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. So this is right here a moment for God to pause and reflect and be like, you guys say that you're not qualified, but you are qualified. This is why you're qualified. This is your credentials. Remember who you are. Remember where you come from. You are qualified. Stop saying that you're not qualified because you are. At least this is how I interpret it. I could be totally wrong, and that's totally okay. I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm not a theologian. I haven't studied the Bible like a full on go to school type study. This is just my take as someone who is in their 30s reading the Bible. Take it or leave it. Oh goodness. I love myself. I love you guys too though. But yeah. I'm going to blow my nose real quick and I'm sure you guys don't want to hear this. So talk amongst yourselves. All right. Much better. So this is where we are in our story so far. Obviously, to catch you guys on up, you guys joined us late. We we see that Israel is sent out. They are in Egypt. They are now oppressed by Egypt. Egypt has them all as slaves. And you know, the king tells his midwives, "Hey, kill the firstborns. We don't need them. We're not doing that." And the midwives are like, "No, we fear God. We can't do this." So Moses is born, and his mom again fears God, and eventually she hides him for 3 months, and then eventually she puts him in the river. And by this is again divine timing and divine intervention, Moses is found in the river by the daughter of Pharaoh. So Pharaoh's daughter then takes him in, and he is raised in Pharaoh's house, but his mom gets to come with him because she was hired to nurse him. Moses is then he kills somebody, and is then, he escapes to Midian. He gets an encounter with God, and, sees the burning bush. And God tells him, "I am who I am. This is what your mission is, basically." And Moses is like, "Wait, I don't speak good. I don't talk good. You need to help me, God." And God's like, "I already accounted for this. Your brother Aaron is going to help you. Just go to Egypt, go talk to Pharaoh, and let's do the thing. I promise that I will do these things. This is the promise stack. I will make you a great nation. I will, give you the land that I promised to you. These are the things that I want you to do. And I know that it's not going to be difficult, and I'm going to make it hard for you, but just know that I'm going to be in it with you every single step of the way. And if this story doesn't just, solidify how we should be walking with him and just trusting in him, I don't know what else to tell you. But that's where we are. We just did the genealogy of Moses and Aaron. And now in hour 2, we are going to actually get into the plagues. This is fun. Plagues are never fun, if we're being honest, but it's interesting, the connections that I was able to kind of pick up on as I was doing my own study of the plagues. So we'll see that when we get there. But in chapter 7, which is where we are now, we will get into the first plague. So this is now Moses. We're finishing up chapter 6. This is chapter 6, verse 28. And this is Moses and Aaron finally go before Pharaoh. So on the day the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, he said to him, "I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I am telling you." But Moses replied to the Lord's presence, "Since I am such a poor speaker, how will Pharaoh listen to me?" Again, still doubting. Come on, Moses, get with the picture. Then the Lord answered Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother will be your prophet. You must say whatever I command you. Then Aaron your brother must declare it to Pharaoh so that he will let the Israelites go from his land. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. Pharaoh will not listen to you, but I will put my hand into Egypt and bring the military divisions of my people, the Israelites, out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring out the Israelites from among them." So Moses and Aaron did this. They did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh tells you, perform a miracle, tell Aaron. Take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh. It will become a serpent." So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and did just as the Lord had commanded. Aaron threw down his staff before Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a serpent. But then Pharaoh called the wise men and sorcerers, the magicians of Egypt, and they also did the same thing by their occult practices. Each one threw down his staff, and it became a serpent. But God's staff swallowed their staffs. However, Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not listen to them as the Lord had said. So God's power is always going to be greater than those of the copycat. copycats. So this first, I feel like this first show and first sign is basically challenging God. This is God versus the the wise men or the officials in the household. So the magicians, the occult leaders in the actual house of Pharaoh. At least that's how I see it. That's the first test. Then, of course, the first plague, which we're going to get into now, is water turned to blood. And guess I'll give you this context such that you guys know. Where is it? Here it is. So the first plague of turning water into blood directly challenges, I don't know if it's Hapi or Happy, but it's Hapi, which is Egypt's god of Nile's flood. And Kunim, I think so, Khu or Khnum, so Kunim maybe. He's God who formed humans from the Nile's mud. So just like I was telling you guys earlier, the Egyptians believed that they the blood life and just the source of human life came from the Nile River. So God's like Happy and Kunim, or I don't even know his name. I'm probably saying it wrong. But they were formed from the Nile's mud. And so when Pharaoh was like, throw all the firstborn sons into the Nile River, it's basically a sacrifice to their gods, little g gods, to basically show them that we sacrifice to you. These are giving you back what you have given us, kind of thing. And the reason why the plague of turning the water to blood is so important and directly challenges those gods is because that basically what they did was it turned the source of Egyptian life into blood and showing that they don't have the ability that they thought to control the river. So that is the first thing, and God was directly being like, "Oh, you guys want to serve these gods? Well, your gods are nothing compared to what I can do." And so that is like basically this is God challenging every single one of their false gods. And like I said, this one directly challenges the source of life. So let's read about it. The first plague, water turned to blood. Then the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning. When you see him walking out to the water, stand ready to meet him by the bank of the Nile. Take in your hand the staff that turned into a snake. Tell him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to tell you, let my people go so that they may worship me in the wilderness. But so far you have not listened. This is what the Lord says. Here is how you will know that I am the Lord. Watch. I am about to strike the water in the Nile with the staff in my hand, and it will turn to blood. The fish in the Nile will die, the river will stink, and the Egyptians will be unable to drink water from it. So the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hands over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, canals, ponds, and all their water reservoirs, and they will become blood. There will be blood throughout the land of Egypt, even in wooden and stone containers. So that right there is, first direct challenge by God and being like, nope, we're not doing this. And so I think I had a question there was, there will be blood throughout the land of Egypt, even in wooden and stone containers. So does that mean obviously they're getting most of their water from wells or going down to the actual river, like the Nile River themselves? And, because the water is a spring, I would assume, or it's clean enough for them to drink it, that they would just fill up their buckets from there and that, or their containers or whatever. And I think that's what it means, that all of the water that comes from the Nile, whether it be stuff that you've already gathered or the water that is currently flowing through the Nile, will turn into blood. So I think that's what that means. I just wasn't entirely sure. So if you guys have any insights on that in the chat, please let me know. I will finish reading the rest of this because we're not done quite yet with the seventh plague or the first plague. So I'll read that, and then if you guys throw things in the chat, we can discuss. All right, so Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. In the sight of Pharaoh and his officials, he raised the staff and struck the water in the Nile, and all the water in the Nile was turned to blood. The fish in the Nile died, and the river smelled so bad the Egyptians could not drink water from it. There was blood throughout the land of Egypt. But the magicians of Egypt did the same thing by their occult practices. So Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he would not listen to them as the Lord had said. Pharaoh turned around, went into his palace, and didn't take even this to heart. All the Egyptians dug around the Nile for water to drink because they could not drink the water from the river. 7 days passed after the Lord struck the Nile. Okay, Cat's yelling at me. She's back now. So yes, that I assume that's what happened. But that was our first plague. That was the first thing that happened, and that was God directly challenging, like I said, their gods. They're little false gods, little puny gods, as Hulk would call them. Let's see. I'm just looking through my notes to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so Nile turns to blood, Egyptians' lifeline attacked, magicians imitate it, and then Pharaoh remains unmoved. So yeah, that's that basically that's that first one. Next in chapter 8 is the second plague, and the second plague is frogs. Frogs directly is in contrast. I'm sorry, I'm just flipping through pages. Okay, so frogs comes as the frog-headed goddess of fertility for them, or her name is Heket. So Heket. She's a frog-headed goddess of fertility, and so turning fertility symbols into a chaotic, overwhelming nuisance is what happens here, and that's why God decided to do frogs and send frogs as the second plague. So it directly challenges their fertility god. Interesting stuff. So let's read about it. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and tell him, this is what the Lord says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let them go, then I will plague all your territory with frogs. The Nile will swarm with frogs. They will come up and go into your palace, into your bedroom, and on your bed, into the houses of your officials and your people, and into your ovens and kneading bowls. The frogs will come up on you, your people, and all your officials." The Lord then said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, canals, and ponds, and cause the frogs to come up onto the land of Egypt." When Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. But the magicians did the same thing by their occult practices and brought frogs up onto the land of Egypt. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Appeal to the Lord to remove the frogs from me and my people. Then I will let the people go and they can sacrifice to the Lord." So this is temporary repentance. We obviously if we know this story, we already know. He doesn't mean this. Pharaoh does not believe it. He doesn't mean it. And God is going to harden his heart again. So Moses said to Pharaoh, "You may have the honor of choosing. When should I appeal on behalf of you, your officials, and your people, that the frogs be taken away from you and your household and your houses remain only in the Nile?" "Tomorrow," he answered. Moses replied, "As you have said, so that you may know that there is no one like the Lord our God. The frogs will go away from you, your houses, your officials, and your people. The frogs will remain only in the Nile." After Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, Moses cried out to the Lord for help concerning the frogs that he had brought against Pharaoh. The Lord did as Moses had said. The frogs in the houses, courtyards, and fields died. They piled them in countless heaps, and there was a terrible odor in the land. But when Pharaoh saw there was relief, he hardened his heart and would not listen to them, as the Lord had said. So that's the second plague right there. We see a glimmer of Pharaoh being like, okay, well maybe. So yeah, so Jess Coke in the chat just said the plagues were attacks on each of their gods, with the final plague showing Egyptians that God was not just the God of Hebrews, but their God also. Yeah, that's a huge one. And yes, Jess, that is absolutely what we're going with, and I think that's we're gonna see that play out. So the first god, like I said, was the gods of the Nile River, two different gods of the Nile River, and then the second one was the god of fertility for the frogs. Now we're on to the third plague. The third plague is gnats. Gnats, let's see what I wrote down. What I wrote down about gnats. So this means judgment on earthly powers. So potentially humiliating priests who needed to remain ritually clean, showing impotence against even small creatures. So that's this is more so maybe not a direct play on God, or if they did have little g gods about earthly powers, that would be what is being attacked here in the third plague. You want to be let out again, huh? Okay. She wants out again. All right. Third plague, gnats. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the land, and it will become gnats throughout the land of Egypt. And they did this. Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff, and when he struck the dust of the land, gnats were on people and animals. All the dust of the land became gnats throughout the land of Egypt. The magicians tried to produce gnats using their occult practices, but they could not. The gnats remained on people and on animals. This is the finger of God, the magicians said to Pharaoh, but Pharaoh's heart was hard and he would not listen to them as the Lord had said. So there that a line was crossed. So a line was crossed right there, and the actual magicians, as they called them, started to recognize the divine power. So divine power is starting to be recognized, and the earthly priests and all that are starting to be like, wait, Pharaoh, like chill. You're doing something here that you're pissing off the wrong people, essentially. All right, fourth plague. Fourth plague was a swarm of flies. So this is where we see a separation happens. So 4 is flies, and that one is the beetle god of rebirth. So Kapir, so Kheper, and Amun, Amun, who is the god of virus. So he's the god of virus, and then we have the beetle god of rebirth. That is what the flies have come to kind of to be the counter of. So the Lord said to Moses, get up early in the morning and present yourselves to Pharaoh when you see him going out to the water. Tell him, this is what the Lord says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. But if you will not let my people go, then I will send swarms of flies against you, your officials, your people, and your houses. The Egyptians' houses will swarm with flies, and so will the land where they live. But on that day, I will give special treatment to the land of Goshen, where my people are living. No flies will be there. This way you will know that I, the Lord, am in the land. I will make a distinction between my people and your people. This sign will take place tomorrow. So that is the big thing right there. God is showing them and proving to the Israelites that they are set apart. They are a different set of people, and he's starting to prove that to the Egyptians as well. That the Egyptians are a different type of people because they still worship their little g gods, and the Israelites are set apart because they worship the one true God. So that's where a distinction is being made. So, and the Lord did this. Thick swarms of flies went into Pharaoh's palace and his officials' houses. Throughout Egypt, the land was ruined because of the swarms of flies. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, go sacrifice to your God within the country. So he's trying to compromise. God said, he wants them to let them go outside of the country. And Moses is like, you can sacrifice to your God, but you can't leave city limits. But Moses said it would not be right to do that because what we will sacrifice to the Lord our God is detestable to the Egyptians. If we sacrifice what the Egyptians detest in front of them, won't they stone us? We must go a distance of 3 days into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God as he instructs us. Pharaoh responded, I will let you go and sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness, but don't go very far. Make an appeal for me. As soon as I leave you, Moses said, I will appeal to the Lord, and tomorrow the swarm of flies will depart from Pharaoh, his officials, and his people. But Pharaoh must not act deceptively again by refusing to let the people go and sacrifice to the Lord. Then Moses left Pharaoh's presence and appealed to the Lord. The Lord did as Moses had said. He removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, his officials, and his people. Not one was left. But Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also and did not let the people go. So there's no halfway freedom here. There's no towing the line. There's no there's that you either let us go like we say that you're going to let us go, or we're not going, kind of thing. So Saint Micah said, "I'm a bit behind the live stream, but I have definitely been going through it. The lack of trust in even our history, as we have been told, had me question. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it. I totally understand that. And we will. So church history. So I started looking into church history, found orthodoxy, and got super confused. Has anyone else wrestled with this? So that is a good question. I don't have the answer for you, unfortunately, just because I have not really ever dug into orthodoxy, and I wonder if people who are live in the chat would be able to chime in on that. And if anybody is at all knowledgeable in that, if they would even be willing to come on one day and kind of talk with us about orthodoxy and kind of explain what it is, and that would be interesting because I feel you, Saint Micah. I feel you. I know that it's tough. Um, she said, I feel like I've landed back where I started. I'm an evangelical Protestant, but it's all so confusing. I agree. I agree. All of the different sects and all the different, subgenres of Christianity is for me is very confusing. That's why I'm here doing this Overthinkers podcast Bible study, because I if we can just strip it down to what is the word saying? What is God trying to speak through us? Like speak to us through the words. I feel like is where we're at. And I know that I don't that's why I keep saying that I'm not a biblical scholar, or I'm not a theologian, or I'm really none of those things, because I really am just trying to figure out what God is trying to talk to us and say to us. And just he gives us all the answers, kind of thing. And not saying that, we can't get the answers from, from different sects of religion or anything like that. I just it's confusing. So for me, I I would rather just talk to him directly. If I can talk to God directly, or, as close to directly as I possibly can to him, then that's where I'm going to go. And I feel like that's kind of what I've been doing. I know a lot of people may not agree with me, and that's fine. And that's it's totally okay, because we God wants an individual relationship with each and every one of us. He doesn't, it's not something that we're all supposed to be perfect at. And uh we're imperfect humans, and we're trying to figure it out as we go. And this is God's way of being like, you know, let just open up your Bible and start reading, and I'll give you the answers. And it's tough because we have to do our own research. And I overthink a lot of things too. I do. So we will hopefully, find our place together. And yes, Eleanor is 100% right. When she says that Grow Wizard, Medbeds, and EC was here, all super knowledgeable guys. They totally are. And I will see. I know Medbeds. I've talked to him briefly, like just in chat about Bible study and stuff like that. And he's like, well, you're not reading Enoch, you're not reading the Bible. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't have it currently, so I didn't start there. But hopefully as we get these other books and all of that. So yeah. And Jess Coke just wrote in the chat, she said, church and religion can definitely be confusing and sometimes throw us off. I am a Christ follower. I agree with you, Jackie. It's about our relationship with him, not what church we do or don't belong to. 100%. It really is. He's asking for, a relationship with him. And as long as we are obedient and are able to seek his face, he will always give us the answers and lead us down the path that he's calling us to. So Eleanor said Wesley Huff as well as Dr. Heiser are brilliant on biblical history. Yes, I would 100% agree with that. I have listened to a few podcasts with Dr. Michael Heiser in them. Wesley Huff, I've heard really good things about recently, and I haven't really dug into him too much yet, but plan to as I continue to kind of dig in the Bible and figure it out as I go. But that's kind of what we're doing here too. Like we're figuring it out. We don't have all the answers and we may not get all the answers, but we're at least getting signs and little winks and nods here and there that help us get through it all. So yeah. But I hope that gives you some type of I know that Saint Micah you're behind a little bit, but when you catch up to us, I hope this little this little break will hopefully encourage you just a little bit. And yeah, I don't Eleanor, yeah, she said I don't believe we should rely so much on Enoch. I agree. I mean, I don't know. We shouldn't rely any on anything too heavily, but I just I I don't know. And I haven't read it, so I can't make a judgment call on it. And Saint Michael, yay! She says, I'm going to Gart. I would love to sit and talk about it with some of you in person. That'd be fantastic. I'm sure we would we'll get into some great Bible talk. I know other great people to talk about this with is Ash, if you can talk to Ash about it. If you can talk to Ghost, he has some really great insights about it too. There's so many people in our community that aren't just like Badlands hosts that have really great insight on Bible study and biblical history and all of that. So please, whenever we're at GART, just that is the perfect opportunity for anybody who is interested. This is the safe space basically for you to be able to just talk about whatever is on your mind and kind of get clarity on things. That's why guards are so awesome because you're able to just eh, let your freak flag fly and talk about the things that you don't normally get to talk about in your normal friend groups. And you get to chat about them in chat, but it's not the same when you actually get to see a person and get to talk to them and it's different. And I highly encourage anybody who can try to make it to one of the GARTs this year. We already have the dates for 3 of the 4 events this year. So please, it would be our absolute honor and pleasure to get to know you and hug you and get to talk to you about whatever it is that you have going on in your heart that you want to talk about. So it would be a fantastic time, and I hope that we get to do that. But anyways, let's get back into it. We are on the 5th plague, which is the death of livestock or pestilence? So plague 5 is pestilence. That's what it's called. Pestilence. Um pestilence I believe is which god is this one? So livestock or this one is Hathor. So Hathor, Hathor, and he is one of the deities associated with cattle. So that is going to be he demonstrates a lack of power to protect even sacred animals. So that is a big one there too. So it's going to be a great little thing here. So this is where lines I feel like get clearly drawn. Your people, my people, let's do it kind of thing. So chapter 9, when the Lord said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let them go and keep holding them, then the Lord's hand will bring a severe plague against your livestock in the field, the horses, donkeys, camels, herds, and flocks. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so that nothing of all that the Israelites own will die. And the Lord set a time, saying, tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. The Lord did this the next day. All the Egyptians' livestock died, but none among the Israelite livestock died. Pharaoh sent messengers who saw that not a single one of the Israelite livestock was dead, but Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not let the people go. So slowly but surely, God is separating his people more and more, and we see that. So it is an awesome thing to see. Unfortunately, like it happened, I would hate for this to actually see this happen, but it is something that we're starting to see. You know, when God says he's going to do something, he's going to make it known. He's going to make it known, and it's going to be very, very obvious that what he's doing. So that was plague number 5. Plague number 6 is boils. And this one challenged all of the healing gods and divine protection. So this is boils. Boils happens next. So the sixth plague, boils. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of furnace soot, and Moses is to throw it toward heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over the entire land of Egypt. It will become festering boils on people and animals throughout the land of Egypt. So they took furnace soot and stood before Pharaoh. Moses threw it toward heaven and became festering boils on people and animals. The magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magician as well as on all the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not listen to them as the Lord had told Moses. So the ones trying to copy God's power are now incapacitated by it. So that is huge, huge that this is now happening. It almost feels like there, like I said, the lines are clearly drawn. God's like, I'm separating my people, and now Pharaoh's, even like, it's slowly but surely it's getting closer and closer to home to Pharaoh. First it's is obviously like it's affecting him physically and all his land and his people and all of that. But now it's getting to a point where even his like faithful servants, the magicians and all of that, they're like, wait a second, we can't. This is affecting us too much. I don't know if I can do this. So yeah. All right. Next up, the next plague is the seventh plague, which is hail and fire. And so this one showed lack of control over the sky, and it challenged weather and sky gods. So this is going to be a good one. This is, I mean, not a good one, but this is getting more and more overt. Like you can see it happening in the sky. So the seventh plague, hail. Then the Lord said to Moses, get up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh. Tell him this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. For this time I am about to send all my plagues against you, your officials and your people. And then you will know there is no one like me on the whole earth. By now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with a plague, and you would have been obliterated from the earth. However, I have let you live for this purpose, to show you my power and to make my name known on the whole earth. You are still acting arrogantly against my people by not letting them go. Tomorrow at this time I will rain down the worst hail that has ever occurred in Egypt from the day it was founded until now. Therefore, give orders to bring your livestock and all that you have in the field into shelters. Every person and animal that is in the field and not brought inside will die when the hail falls on them. Those among Pharaoh's officials who feared the word of the Lord made their servants and livestock flee to shelters. But those who didn't take to heart the Lord's word left their servants and livestock in the field. So some finally listened. See? Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards heaven and let there be hail throughout the land of Egypt, on people and animals, and on every plant of the field in the land of Egypt. So Moses stretched out his staff toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail. Lightning struck the land, and the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. The hail with lightning flashing through it was so severe that nothing like it had occurred in the land of Egypt since it had become a nation. Throughout the land of Egypt, the hail struck down everything in the field, both people and animals. The hail beat down every plant of the field and shattered every tree in the field. The only place it didn't hail was in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites were. Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron. I have sinned this time, he said to them. The Lord is the righteous one, and I and my people are the guilty ones. Make an appeal to the Lord. There has been enough of God's thunder and hail. I will let you go. You don't need to stay any longer. Moses said to him, when I have left the city, I will spread out my hands to the Lord. The thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, so that you may know the earth belongs to the Lord. But as for you and for your officials, I know that you still do not fear the Lord God. The flax and the barley were destroyed because the barley was ripe, and the flax was budding, but the wheat and the spelt were not destroyed since they are later crops. Moses left Pharaoh and the city and spread out his hands to the Lord. Then the thunder and hail ceased. The rain no longer poured down on the land. When Pharaoh saw that the rain, hail, and thunder had ceased, he sinned again and hardened his heart, he and his officials. So Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not let the Israelites go as the Lord had said through Moses. So, again, hello, sir. You he just when you think he's getting close, just when you think he's getting so close to actually letting them go, he's like, no, actually, no, you guys are not. I lied. You guys aren't going to go. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. It is what it is, though. But yeah, that was the next one. We're on chapter 10 now. We're on chapter 10. And let me look at the chat real quick. Jennifer Ray, yes, Pharaoh keeps FA and is going to FO. Yeah, he is. He definitely will. And Saint Mike, I'm so glad. She says, "Oh, for goodness sake. I just love you people so much. Thank you for your responses. We love you. And we will definitely talk. We will talk in Nashville. And we will, if we want, we can have our own little powwow. Our own little Bible study powwow. That'll be fun to do in person. So yes. But that was plague 7. Now we're on plague 8, and plague 8 is locusts. And this one is directly confronting the agricultural gods. So this is for all the agricultural gods. Let's read about them and what happens. So then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his officials, so that I may do these miraculous signs of mine among them. And so that you may tell your son and your grandson how severely I dealt with the Egyptians and performed miraculous signs among them, and you will know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh and told him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let my people go, then tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory. They will cover the surface of the land so that no one will be able to see the land. They will eat the remainder left to you that escaped the hail. They will eat every tree you have growing in your fields. They will fill your houses, all your officials' houses, and the houses of all the Egyptians, something your fathers and grandfathers never saw, since the time they occupied the land until today." Then they turned and left Pharaoh's presence. Pharaoh's officials asked them, "How long must this man be a snare to us? Let the men go so that they may worship the God, their Lord, their God. Don't you realize yet that Egypt is devastated?" I don't know why I can't read right now. It'll come back to me. So even the advisors know. Even the advisors are starting to pick up on the fact that, like, come on, Pharaoh, why do you keep holding on to them? They're going to continue to just inflict more and more danger, and just we're not going to have anything left if you keep letting them stay, essentially. So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. "Go worship the Lord your God," Pharaoh said. "But exactly who will be going?" Moses replied, "We will go with our young and with our old. We will go with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds, because we must hold the Lord's festival." He said to them, "The Lord would have to be with you if I would ever let you and your families go. Look out, you're heading for trouble. No, go, just able-bodied men, worship the Lord, since that's what you want." And they were driven from Pharaoh's presence. So again, he's still bargaining. He's still bargaining with them. He's still, trying to make some type of deal. And the Lord then said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, and the locusts will come up over it and eat every plant in the land, everything that the hail left." So Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Egypt, and the Lord sent an east wind over the land all that day and through the night. By morning, the east wind had brought in the locusts. The locusts went up over the entire land of Egypt and settled on the whole territory of Egypt. Never before had there been such a large number of locusts, and there never will be again. They covered the surface of the whole land so that the land was black, and they consumed all the plants on the ground and all the fruit on the trees that the hail had left. Nothing green was left on the trees or the plants in the field throughout the land of Egypt. Pharaoh urgently sent for Moses and Aaron and said, "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Please forgive my sin once more and make an appeal to the Lord your God so that he will just take this death away from me." Moses left Pharaoh's presence and appealed to the Lord. Then the Lord changed the wind to a strong west wind, and it carried off the locusts and blew them into the Red Sea. Not a single locust was left in all the territory of Egypt. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the Israelites go. So there's the pattern. The pattern is now locked in. He's like, okay, you guys can go. Moses then goes and gets rid of whatever plague, and Pharaoh's like, actually, never mind. You guys can't go anymore. But he's gonna learn, like Rock Candy 88 said. Pharaoh gonna learn today. He sure is. Okay, we got two more plagues. The next one is darkness. So this one is in direct, I guess, confrontation with the supreme sun god of Egypt, Ra. So Ra, Ra, or Re, R-E. This is where the darkness one comes in. So this is the 9th plague of darkness. And this is chapter 10, verse 21. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward heaven, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness that can be felt." So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was darkness. There was thick darkness throughout the land of Egypt for 3 days. One person could not see another, and for 3 days they did not move from where they were. Yet all the Israelites had light where they lived. So, light versus darkness. Where have we seen this? Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, "Go worship the Lord. Even your families may go with you. Only your flocks and herds must stay behind." Moses responded, "You must also let us have sacrifices and burnt offerings to prepare for the Lord our God. Even our livestock must go with us. Not a hoof will be left behind because we will take some of them to worship the Lord our God. We will not know what we will use to worship the Lord until we get there." But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart again, and he was unwilling to let them go. Pharaoh said to him, "Leave me. Make sure you never see my face again, for on the day you see my face, you will die." "As you have said," Moses replied, "I will never see your face again." So no more meetings. Do not come here again. I don't want to see your stinking face. You have done too much already. And little does he know that God is going to do the biggest thing that he has ever done. So this is the ultimate judgment. This is the last plague. This is plague number 10. This is the death of the firstborn. And like I said, this is the ultimate judgment of Pharaoh, who honestly considered himself a god in a way. And so his household and his sacred animals, and this is paving absolute authority over all deities and concept of divine image, because this is God Almighty. He is the one who, is the creator of the heavens of the earth. This is he can put him in the world and he can take him out. And this is God being like, "You think that you have power, Pharaoh? You don't. I am the all-powerful God. Fear me." So again, this is chapter 11, and we're almost done. We got chapter 11 and then chapter 12, and then we'll be done for today. So the Lord said to Moses, "I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here. When he lets you go, he will drive you out of here. Now announce to the people that both men and women should go ask their neighbors for silver and gold items." The Lord gave the people favor with the Egyptians. In addition, Moses himself was very highly regarded in the land of Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and the people. So Moses said, "This is what the Lord says. About midnight, I will go throughout Egypt, and every firstborn male in the land of Egypt will die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sits on the throne, to the firstborn of the servant girl who is at the grindstones, as well as every firstborn of the livestock. Then there will be a great cry of anguish throughout all of the land of Egypt, such as never was before or ever will be again. But against all the Israelites, whether people or animals, not even a dog will snarl, so that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these officials of yours will come down to me and bow before me, saying, 'Get out, you and all the people who follow you.' After that, I will get out." And he went out from Pharaoh's presence, fiercely angry. The Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt." Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go out of his land. So that right there is the final line. Just talking about it was not enough. Talking about the last plague was not going to be enough for Pharaoh. He needed action is going to be speak louder than words in this case. So this is where I think, let me see, what's chapter 12? Yeah. Chapter 12 is the Passover instructions. And this is where we're going to be ending today. This is the last straw. This is the last little bit. And then we'll pick up on 13 next time. Will we? Yeah, we won't what we'll do is we'll read through the Exodus and then we'll leave we'll finish on 12:43 because that starts the Passover instruction. So we'll do that. We'll start that on Thursday. So for those that don't know, we do Bible study 2 times a week. We do Sunday at noon and then we do Thursdays at 10 p.m. here on my channel. And actually last Thursday we had Abby Blue Eyes join me, so that was fun. And we'll see if I can get anybody to join me this week. It'd be fun too. But if not, then you'll be stuck with me. But anyways, we are on the final chapter. These are the instructions that God gives to Moses to then give to Aaron to give to the land of Egypt and to the land of, to Goshen. So these are the instructions. We will end here. We will read rants, get to any last minute ads if we have any, and then we'll end the show. So instructions for the Passover. This is chapter 12 of Exodus. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month is to be the beginning of months for you." So this is now going to be month one for Israel. "It is the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, they must each select an animal of the flock according to their father's families, one animal per family. If the household is too small for a whole animal, that person and the neighbor nearest his house are to select one based on the combined number of people. You should apportion in the animal according to what each will eat. You must have an unblemished animal, a year-old male. You will take it from either the sheep or the goats. You are to keep it until the 14th day of this month. Then the whole assembly of the community of Israel will slaughter the animals at twilight. They must take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and the lintel of the houses where they eat them. They are to eat the meat that night. They should eat it roasted over the fire along with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or cooked in boiling water, but only roasted over fire. Its head as well as its legs and inner organs. You must not leave any of it until morning. Any part of it left until morning you must burn. Here is how you must eat it. You must be dressed for travel, your sandals on your feet and your staff in your hand. You are to eat it in a hurry. It is the Lord's Passover. I will pass through the land of Egypt on that night and strike every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, both people and animals. I am the Lord. I will execute judgments against all the gods of Egypt. The blood on the houses where you are staying will be a distinguishing mark for you. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No plague will be among you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. So the blood is a covering. And like Rock Candy 88 in the chat said, Passover foreshadows Jesus being the perfect lamb and being the perfect sacrifice that atoned for all of our sins. So this day is to be a memorial for you, and you must celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. You are to celebrate it throughout your generations as a permanent statute. You must eat unleavened bread for 7 days. On the first day, you must remove yeast from your houses. Whoever eats what is leavened from the first day through the 7th day must be cut off from Israel. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the first day and another sacred assembly on the 7th day. No work may be done on those days except for preparing what people need to eat. You may do only that. You are to observe the festival of unleavened bread because on this very day I brought your military divisions out of the land of Egypt. You must observe this day throughout your generations as a permanent statute. You are to eat unleavened bread in the first month from the evening of the 14th day of the month until the evening of the 21st day. Yeast must not be found in your houses for 7 days. If anyone eats something leavened, that person, whether a resident alien or native of the land, must be cut off from the community of Israel. Do not eat anything leavened. Eat unleavened bread in all your homes. So this is where Moses becomes obedient, and he does it right away. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go select an animal from the flock according to your families and slaughter the Passover animal. Take a cluster of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and brush the lintel and the two doorposts with some of the blood in the basin. None of you may go out the door of this house until morning. When the Lord passes through to strike Egypt and sees the blood on the lintel and the two doorposts, he will pass over the door and not let the destroyer enter your houses to strike you. Keep this command permanently as a statute for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, you are to observe this ceremony. When your children ask you, 'What does this ceremony mean to you?' you are to reply, 'It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, for he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when he struck the Egyptians and he spared our homes.' So the people knelt low and worshipped. Then the Israelites went and did this. They did just as the Lord has commanded Moses and Aaron." So faith first. God is asking for immediate obedience, and the people of Israel did just that. They went, they got their lambs and their goats, they slaughtered them, they painted their door frames with the blood, and no leavened bread. That is the rule now. So this is the last little part that we're going to read, and then picking up on Thursday with the actual Passover instruction and the Exodus. So this part now is called the Exodus, and this is chapter 12, verse 29, and we'll read up to 43 and pick up there on Thursday. It says, "Now at midnight the Lord struck every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and every firstborn of the livestock. During that night, Pharaoh got up, and he, along with all his officials and all the Egyptians, and there was a loud wailing throughout Egypt because there wasn't a house without someone dead. He summoned Moses and Aaron during the night and said, 'Get out immediately from among my people, both you and the Israelites, and go worship the Lord as you have said. Take even your flocks and your herds as you asked, and leave and also bless me.'" That's their bless, yeah, and bless me. So, breaking point. Pharaoh finally realizes what's going on. And he's like, "Okay, I've had enough. Go. Get out of here. I don't want to see your face anymore. I'm done." And now the Egyptians pressured the people in order to send them quickly out of the country, for they said, "We're all going to die." So the people took their dough before it was leavened, with their kneading bowls, wrapped up their cloths on their shoulders. The Israelites acted in Moses' word and asked the Egyptians for silver and gold items and for clothing. Remember, God asked for this and told them to do this. And the Lord gave the people such favor with the Egyptians that they gave them what they requested. In this way, they plundered the Egyptians. So they left not empty-handed. They all left with more than enough for them to be able to survive what is going to come now in this wilderness scene. The time that the Israelites lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, on that same day, all the Lord's military divisions went out from the land of Egypt. It was a night of vigil in honor of the Lord, because he would bring them out of the land of Egypt. This same night is in honor of the Lord, a night vigil for all the Israelites throughout their generations. So that right there is the story of the plagues. We see now that the people of Israel are allowed to leave the country. They are allowed to go about their way, and hopefully we'll see what happens. I hope that you, not hopefully, because we will see it, and I will see it, and hopefully you guys will join me on Thursday to see it with us. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this Bible study today. This is always a pleasure to be able to get to do this with you guys. I am going to read, I think we got, maybe not rants, but we got some supporters come through, and I will also read through any coffees that may have come through. So I'll pull that up in just a second. So here is our 2 monthly supporters. We have JC Bird. Thank you so much for becoming a monthly supporter. And then we also have Elizabeth 5326 is now also a monthly supporter. So thank you both for this. This was fantastic. Don't leave quite just yet. I forgot to do this on Thursday, but I will not forget to do this today. Is I want to end today's reading in prayer, if that's all right with you guys. And it doesn't look like we had any coffees come through, so that's okay. But like I said, let's go ahead and end with prayer. I'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for another episode of the Good Book Sessions with Bay Theater Dave. I don't know who's live right now or if anybody's live, because I was going to see if anybody was live, I could raid you over there. Oh look, it looks like Red Pill's live and Kankon's still live. So I'll send you guys over to one of those two guys, depending on where they are once we're done. But thank you guys for being here. I'm going to rest up my voice for our show tonight. We're watching, like I said, season 2, episode 8 of The Chosen. We're wrapping up season 2. It's been a great time. Dave and I truly enjoy getting to talk with you guys about this. And yeah, so let's pray and then we'll get out of here, and appreciate you guys. So God, thank you for meeting us in this part of the story today. Lord, thank you for reminding us that you see suffering even when it feels forgotten, and that you hear cries long before rescue arrives. As we read about your people who are in bondage and your hand beginning to move, help us remember that you are always at work, even when change feels slow or incomplete. Lord, thank you for being a God who delivers, a God who keeps his promises, and a God who brings light in the middle of darkness. Lord, help us trust you in the waiting, in the building, and in the moments where the full picture hasn't unfolded yet. And for those who are feeling stuck or overwhelmed or unsure of what comes next, Lord, I ask you to remind us that this is not the end of the story, that you are still moving and you are still making a way. Lord, as we part this afternoon or this evening or whenever people are watching this, Lord, let what we read stay with us, not as fear or heaviness, but rather as hope. So give us peace and rest and steady hearts as we continue forward together. Lord, we place ourselves in this study and what lies ahead in your hands. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. We will see you guys next Thursday. And before I realized, I almost forgot that I was going to do this. I was going to read one of these real quick. So they can freeze your accounts, shut off your accounts, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, a real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you can get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't proper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank values, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, secure, and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. So thank you, Rumble Wallet, for being here and supporting us. And I do have my Rumble Wallet active. If you guys ever want to support what we're doing here on the show, you can see that down at the bottom of this video. It has like a little green little box that has like the Rumble symbol and like some other things on it. If you guys don't mind, or if you guys want to give it a try, Rumble Wallet would be great. I love you guys, but that is all I have for you. I will see you guys later this evening for Good Book Sessions, and we will see you guys when we see you. Love you. God bless you, and see you soon.